Hello guys and girls, I'm Mike Trapetskov from EOL Studios, and I'm also a member of Mix Review crew, and today I wanted to talk about live versus multi-track recording. Now, live versus multi-track recording is a bit of a common debate topic in rock and metal music industry. Some people prefer live recording and say that that's the only way to capture the cohesiveness and uniqueness of the band performance in live format, whereas the others say that only the multi-track recording allows to get that super polished, tight, modern produced sound, which is not achievable with the live setting. Now, definitely there is truth to both of these decisions, and the ultimate choice of how you do the tracking is the creative process and is based on your band's face and character. But I'll just try to add up on those both points and explain what are the ups and downs of both and where is it appropriate to use. So, starting with the live recording regime. From my experience, indeed, when the band is tracked live in the studio, all together at the same time, it does add the unique groove and the feeling of the band in a cohesive way, which is really important for certain genre of rock and metal. However, as a downside, live recording is much more expensive, just because, well, you need to hire a really decent studio with a decent sounding room, and it takes longer for everyone to tune into individual performance and play really tight. So if a drummer makes a mistake in the middle of the song, or then the bass player makes a mistake at the end of the song, even if you track the song multiple times and try to align this, it may not be always possible. So you really will need to nail the performance to the absolute top and perform your very, very best, and it will probably take longer. Another consideration here is the microphone bleed. So the bass guitar may spill into the tom microphones and create some unwanted noise, and vice versa, which is not editable on the live on the post tracking stage. And some people actually prefer that and say that this actually adds some unique feel to the recording, while the others hate it. And, you know, it's a bit of a stylistic choice, but still, it's important to keep in mind. Another thing is communication during the live tracking. In an ideal scenario, musicians in the studio environment will be able to see each other and talk, you know, with their eyes while playing, but from my recent experience, this exact point was the problem that did not allow the musicians to perform their best, just because they were in isolated separate rooms, the drummer, the bass and the guitar players. So there was a bit of a lack of communication, and you need to make sure you know this before you hit the studio and perform, otherwise it may lead to some compromises. Now, talking about the multi-track recording, from my experience, it does indeed add some extreme tightness. And you can always experiment with some, you know, crazy layering, tracking some fun things, reverse guitar, you know, tracking million of stacks of vocal tracks, etc., etc. And that's really cool. Another advantage of multi-track recording is a very flexible ability for editing. So if you track drums first, you can just align them to the grid if it's important in your production style, and then perform bass on top of that, edit the bass, so on and so forth, and it will really, really sound absolutely tight. But yeah, obviously the groove that is present in the original performance may be lost just because of the nature of this tracking. So the way to decide whether you want to go live or multi-track is your unique playing style. Ask the question, who in the band is the main driver of the groove? Is it the drummer, is it the guitar player and the bass player, or is it the band as a whole? Another consideration is, how do you sound on live gigs versus the previous recordings? Sometimes I've encountered some bands that do sound much better live versus the recordings, and that's probably just because they feel each other much better in a live environment. Now, the driver of the groove question will determine who goes first to record the multi-track recording as well. So it's really important to consider. Now, in my career, I mostly work with instrument by instrument recording just because of the nature of the music I work in. But having said that, I have recently worked with some live recordings, and it was pretty decent. So finally, another thing to consider is a bit of a compromise between these two approaches. So if you do want to sound live and groovy, but want to add a million of layers, it's always possible to just do the live track in the studio and then come up with a million of overdubs later. And there is no harm in that. So hopefully I've covered some details on live tracking versus multi-track recording. And please, guys and girls, if you have any questions, suggestions, some things to ask for, some extra topics to cover, never hesitate to leave a comment, and I will get back to you with pleasure. Thanks for watching.